In this section, we're going to talk about employee issues, meaning issues that come up as an employee. So you're working for somebody else, or you're an independent contractor, and you have questions about or issues with whoever's paying you or whoever hired you, whether you're an employee or an independent contractor of that person. Examples of this would be they're not paying me on time. They're not paying me overtime. They're asking me to do things that I don't think I should have to do. They wrongfully terminated me. They terminated me because they found out I was pregnant. They terminated me because I'm in a protected class. Like they terminated me because I'm female. They terminated me because of my sexual orientation. These are the kind of things that an employment lawyer that represents plaintiffs. So a plaintiff's employment lawyer would be someone that you might want to talk to. And a lot of times when it comes to these types of employee issues, or they're treating me as an independent contractor, not deducting taxes, not providing me benefits when I think I should be an employee. These are usually covered by state law in the state that you're working. And an employment lawyer should be able to pretty quickly tell you, hey, there's anti-discrimination, which are both federal and state, that say you can't terminate somebody because of what they did to you, and we can sue them. Or they're supposed to be paying you overtime, and we can sue them for that. And attorney's fees are recoverable from the employer under those statutes. So those attorneys will often work on a contingency basis, meaning they're only going to get a percentage of what they recover for you, meaning you don't have to put any money out of pocket. So it's usually just like a personal injury attorney, usually a good idea to talk to them and probably hire them because it's not going to cost you money up front. Just make sure you always stay on track and stay on top of it, because you can switch attorneys, if they're not doing what they said they were going to do. And sometimes that happens if it's a large law firm or they take on too many cases and they're not really pushing your case the way it should be. You do have the right to switch attorneys. So I always want to tell people that. But not too often. If you start switching attorneys all the time, then you get seen as a problem client, and that's not good. No one will want your case. But these can be potentially large cases because sometimes in some cases, like in certain states, there are penalties and fines and things like that if the employer does something wrong, or on the federal level, on the US level, there could be certain penalties or fines assessed against the employer and attorney's fees being covered. So a lot of times you'll find an attorney who will work on a contingency basis to represent you, to go after your employer for things like they didn't allow me to take breaks, they didn't pay me overtime, they wrongfully terminated me, whatever the issue is, they're treating me as an independent contractor, they didn't give me benefits. There's all kinds of different issues that come up. And an employment lawyer on the plaintiff side representing employees is someone you would want to talk to. So I would definitely recommend talking to someone about that. Doing it yourself is going to be very difficult because eventually you're going to have to file a lawsuit, most likely, or at least go through a regulatory agency to pursue your claims. And those can be very complicated. And if you're not having to pay anything out of pocket, then it's worth just hiring someone. If you want to try to do it yourself, you could. You can make a demand on the employer. You could file a complaint in the local courts for wrongful termination, and sometimes some courts have those forms you can fill out and file yourself, but then you're in a court process. You have to follow all the local rules, procedures. So unless you've completely researched those and understand, here's the procedure, here's the local rules, here's how the case is going to work, here's what I do in discovery, here's how I respond to a motion, here's how I prepare for trial. These are all things that if you hire an attorney, they're going to handle for you. So, and if you do hire an attorney, make sure you're comfortable with, their explanation of the end resolution, whether you settle or however it ends, and maybe get a second opinion if you need to. But it's usually a good idea to hire someone in these types of cases.